Okay, so now we are in the tax department. In the tax department, as we know, it's all about data, getting data from I, reconciliating the data, generating some kind of report or analyzing some kind of report. And the use case that I brought to you is a use case that I like to use in this kind of presentation, actually. It is a use case that pretty much reflects the way that the tax department, the challenge that the tax department are facing today. So imagine today there will be a new law. For example, in that case, there is a law where everyone in a specific country in the EU that needs to import non-recyclable material has to pay a specific tax, right? And the problem is for that specific customer is that he didn't really think about how much non-recyclable material are in my product. And they have like 120,000 different type of product coming from more than 20,000 vendors. And now there is this new law how they need to pay tax. And if they don't want to pay the tax, they need actually to extract from the product that they are importing how much of non-recyclable material they're actually importing inside the country. So generally, the way that you want to do is that you will try to probably allocate every vendor to say to every vendor, send us the documentation of the product that we are importing and with a proper formatting of how much material actually each product has so that we can know exactly what is the amount. The only problem is that those documentation comes in different formats. Could be different PDF, could be API, could be different things. And the customer said, okay, how can we handle that? How can we be sure exactly that we're importing this amount of non-recyclable material? And they approach us and then we say to them, hey, you, why don't you use a large language model to do this kind of task for you? Which means that the goal for this use case is to go inside the documentation or the API of each supplier, extract the composition of each product, and then automatically calculate how much tax we need to pay for a specific country into the EU. Now, let's see in action how we did it, actually. So what you see here is that we did it in different steps. And of course, when we say in different steps, so in the beginning, you will receive the documentation that comes, for example, from a folder, as you can see here, in different shape and form PDF. This is the kind of information that you see. In that specific case, we have like a plastic, a cola, a soda bottle, which can be a can, we can be a PET bottle, we can be coming into a glass. And the idea is, so I have all these PDF documents or I receive all these elements from the API. How do I extract it? Different steps using Alteryx Designer. The first one, of course, is to extract the content, so the textual information that is contained inside the PDF. And for that, you can use the Alteryx Intelligence Suite. This is what we use here. So we will specify this is the part of the tool itself. Please try to extract only the text content. And then we will aggregate all the text content into the dataset. So now that we know the raw text, so you can see something like this, that we know the raw text that we have into the dataset, we can now also ask the large language model, please considering this text and considering the information that the supplier gave to us, please extract each individual component for each individual material. And by the way, do an analysis on if this material is considered non-recyclable according to the policy of the country. So here, this is a very simple implementation, but you can see that here we are going now to formulate a specific prompt to say now to the large language model, given the text that you have, the product information that we extracted from the PDF, try to extract the following element. And if you extract the following element, try to analyze based on the policy that we have in the country, if this is recyclable or not recyclable. Of course, here we're using the GenAI tool. Same principle, having the prompt, connect to the large language model, as you can see here. Select a model. So this is a new form of the GenAI tool that I mentioned before. But here, we are using also different model. Right now, we are using Gemini, but you can also use something that is deployed on another platform. And afterward, pass the result. So after this only first step, you have different information here where you can see the product name, the quantity according to the documentation, the total plastic weight, total recyclable plastic weight, and so on and so forth. And of course, I know that in order to have the fully compliant report of what is actually contained, classified, and so on, it will not be only one call, but it will be an orchestration of different calls. Meaning that I will ask the large language model first extract the composition, then I will ask the large language model, okay, this is what we identify. Is it toxic or not toxic according to the country laws? Then extract this is the weight, and then make some kind of plausibility check, and so on. So you will have to extract it. But the good thing is that at the end, we have one report that I will just click here. The report itself is actually a HTML that has been entirely generated by the large language model, which will give you a proper overview of actually all the import that you have done, with a nice view that is actually dynamic, generated by the large language model, where you can see exactly the composition, where this is coming from, and everything. And this is just an example how you, as a business, without any specific knowledge on how a large language model works or how to program, you are able to make something that is more complex by using the natural language processing capability of large language model. But this is just one use case among a lot of use cases. So we have different use cases. Plastic tax reporting is one. Invoice data extraction. Since I can extract information from the PDF, I can also extract information from invoice. Tax deductibility vendor for payment. Since I have all the description of every transaction in my SAP system, I can analyze the law in the country where the transaction happened to see if there is any deductibility that I can identify. Or financial assessment analysis. If somebody wants, before you are ready, somebody send me the financial assessment or a financial report of a company, I can now also try to identify if something is not okay, or try to identify the key information or the things that are at risk. We have a lot of use cases that we brought with you, from tax data quality check, from transfer pricing compliance monitoring, for invoice classification and verification. This is actually something that I've seen also with a lot of customers. Or, for example, tax dispute analysis, right? What's happening before, the years before, the months before? Can we actually get all the report of those tax disputes, analyze the document, and highlight the key argument, for example? These are the things that you can actually use our GenAI tool, just orchestrate different prompts and get a nice insight or a nice report built on top of that.